I don't know if I'm disgusting or what the deal is, but when I sleep, I am sweating on my blowout. I wake up, it's gone. Not even one of those graceful girls that just disappeared. The bottom of my neck is knotted, the top is frizzy, and my bed head is awful. And I was like, there has to be a better way to sleep with my blowout. At this point in my life, I'm probably Sleepy Tie's #1 fan, which I think is part of what makes it such a special brand. Is like, I actually need the product so deeply. I cannot live without it. It's been a journey, but now my hair has never been healthier. We're here, so it's fine.
Welcome to the Fashionista Network. Welcome to the Fashionista Network.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Fashionista Network. I'm Brooke, Fashionista's Associate Editor and Social Media Manager, and I'm so excited for today's episode conversation. We are talking to the founder and CEO of Sleepy Tie, Rachael Shtifter, and we're going to talk all about this very viral product that she created. You've probably seen it on TikTok. It's an innovative scrunchie that helps preserve your blowout overnight. Hi, Rachael.
Hi, thank you for that.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. I'm excited to talk to you. But yeah, we're going to just jump right into it. So I'd love if you could give us a little bit of background about yourself, your education, and how that led to Sleepy Tie.
It's been quite a journey, about a 15-year journey. People look at my company, Sleepy Tie, and think it's an overnight success because of social media. But in reality, Sleepy Tie is actually my third business. My background is in business. I went to Hofstra University in Long Island and lived in New York and was studying business management and had this like affinity for beauty. I just loved everything makeup and hair and did people's makeup and hair for prom. I had braces going into college, so I think makeup just kind of made things better. And in college, I picked up a camera and started to take photos of some of my best friends. And that's when I like immediately put them on social media. And that is when people started to see my work. And kind of fast forward many years later, that was 2010. 2014, I opened up a salon called Parlr. And essentially, it's one of the world's largest salons that ever existed. We have 40 employees that work there. It's like looks like New York City. It's like a mill building style salon. And that's kind of where I got my street cred in hair and business. I had opened a branding agency in 2020. Everything closed because of the pandemic. Terrible timing and great timing. In the pandemic, I invented Sleepy Tie because my blowouts weren't lasting overnight. I was so sad. I have super curly hair. Like, I need a solution. Made the first prototype, and then it went viral many times. And we kind of hit that heatless hair wave like super quick. And from there, business was born. And now we're 4 years old.
I used to go through high school. Basically, no one taught me how to do my curls. I would just survive off a blowout every week. It was so hard to manage, obviously, because you're crushing it in your sleep and it's bending and it never looks right. Can you tell me about the origin story for the Sleepy Tie and how you developed that product?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm disgusting or what the deal is, but when I sleep, I am sweating on my blowout. I wake up, it's gone. Not even one of those graceful girls that just disappeared. The bottom of my neck is knotted, the top is frizzy, and my bed head is awful. And so like I just found that because of my natural hair texture and then blowing out on top of that, if there was any moisture, movement, friction, anything, like I was like, there has to be a better way to sleep with my blowout. This is ridiculous. Every time I wake up, I would have to take a flat iron or a blow dryer to fix my hair. I was sick of that because I was like, I know I can but I can keep my blowout going, but then if I keep retouching it and I keep reheating it, it's going to get greasy and it's going to get damaged. That's really what was happening. And then I was also coloring my hair. It wasn't the best look. That was my experience. At this point in my life, I'm probably Sleepy Tie's #1 fan, which I think is part of what makes it such a special brand. Is like, I actually need the product so deeply. I cannot live without it. It's been a journey, but now my hair has never been healthier. We're here, so it's fine.
Yeah, your hair looks amazing, firstly. I am curious just because obviously we know that, like you said, there has been this boom of overnight styling things to put in your hair. How did you land on this shape, and like how did you determine that was the best thing for this?
I think it was this weird compilation of my career. I had worked in New York City for a celebrity stylist for a few years. She threw me into the deep end of fashion. I would work Fashion Week and I had no idea what I was doing with makeup and hair. I just did it. I used to do weird things to people's hair with buns, donuts, and these like just tools, like these random tools that I would buy from like 35th and 8th, like this random stupid beauty store. I think I just had in the back of my head these things that I knew could work in some way. It was an accident. I can't like take full credit. It wasn't like the science experiment where I was like, I got this. It was sort of like, I was like, maybe I could like wrap it and then like hold it. And then if it stayed like that, I was thinking solution based for myself. And then when I taught myself how to sew, I mean, obviously we're sitting there in the pandemic, so bored. I'm just like, let me try sewing this. And so like, I just like threw this scrunchie on, and like the first thing I ever sewed was the real prototype. We still make Sleepy Tie exactly the way I made the first one. There's no science to it.
It's still the same exact design.
It's weird. It's cool.
Okay, so like you mentioned, you also have seen a lot of success through social media. Was that part of the initial launch of the brand? Is that something you always knew was going to play a big role? How have you seen that impact your growth and launch in general?
Yeah, so it's interesting. I've always been really deep into social media, even since college. So like 2010, I would say, is when I realized the power of social media, because that's the first time I ever, like, I took a photo shoot, put those on Facebook. And at that time, that's when Facebook was only for college students. You couldn't just have a Facebook, like you had to be in college to use it. And so I saw what it could do. Over time, I believed in it more. I advertised the salon on social media. The salon sort of helped me get a base following because it became very well known in the area, in the whole Boston network. Like we had so many clients. So like that was sort of like the base of like my street cred for hair, because people were like, oh, like she can be trusted. She owns a salon. Then yes, the power of social media was very interesting, especially with TikTok, because TikTok was kind of like right when heatless hair and TikTok were becoming really popular, and the pandemic all hit at once. When we went live with Sleepy Tie, people were very interested. So I think we hit it at the right time personally. But yeah, social media has played a major role because and especially TikTok, because TikTok's so raw. So people don't want to see the, contrived, over editorialized content. They want to see like, just shut up and show me the results. And that's kind of what we did. It was still what we do. Put your money where your mouth is and like, show me that it works. And so that's what we do all the time.
Yeah. And I also think this is like a category that requires visual demonstration.
Sure. Definitely a learning curve. There's no doubt about it. Social media is a pillar. Pretty much all I spend my time on is marketing. It's a full-time job.
At what point was there a social media success where customers were like, give us more, give us something new? When did you know you wanted to expand beyond just one product?
I knew from a business POV that a lot of business owners spread too thin. I hated watching that. It's like everyone was always like, do liquids, make a dry shampoo, do these things. And I think people, if they were in my shoes, might have done that. For me, it was interesting to see the feedback that Sleepy Tie was so needed. From the beginning, Carly, my sister, is the chief of operations. We sat down and we were like, let's stay in our niche. Let's keep creating things that revolutionize hair routines. When we realized that people needed Sleepy Tie, that's when we started to kind of take that feedback and like, we were like, we'll continue to revolutionize, but we're not going to veer too far from that core focus. So that's why we kind of have these 4 core products surrounding the concept of protecting your blowout, revolutionizing your hair routine, and keeping the health of your hair at top priority. Those are Sleepy Tie, our revolutionary shower cap, the Luxe bonnet, and then Curly Tie, which is our newest invention. And to be honest with you, like year after year, innovation wise, my focus will always be repetitive in that way, because I hate seeing brands try to do too much too. So like we take the feedback, but then we also like try to make it intelligent in response.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm very interested in the curly tie, especially because I've struggled a lot with my own curls. And obviously that's not unique to me. That's something a lot of curly girls and people go through. What are some of the ways you made the original Sleepy Tie and also adapted these new products to being not just for blown out, perfectly straight hair, like, and more inclusive of different hair types and textures?
Inclusivity is so important to us because like at first we just did launch a product that was just for protecting a blowout. But then like as we were typing the copy in meetings, we were like protect your hairstyle, protect your iron hair. I was like, wait, there's so many types of women and there's so many types of women with different types of hair. Ironing your hair, styling your hair means something different to everybody. When we went live with the Luxe bonnet, I have curly hair. I have no way of protecting my curls. Women with natural textured curls need a beautiful solution. So that's when we decided to expand our market a little bit, because we were like, we should be about protecting everybody's hairstyle and every type of texture. And then, so that's like kind of when bonnet entered scene. And then to take it one step further, the curly tie is the first heatless curl we've ever gone live with. And that was sort of more inspired more than anything off of the sock curl. Earlier this year, I saw people putting socks in their mouth and I was like, that is heinous. I don't want to see this anymore. So that is to be used on straight, dry, blown out hair, because like we've seen it used on damp, and like unless you're that blessed, it's not going to like give you the best results, but it does give you great curls. You can control the tightness of the curl based on how you wrap. If you wrap really tight and close together, you're going to get those like more ringlet kind of like tight curls. But if you go farther apart, it gives you that space and you can kind of have like that blown out wave. It gives you more control.
On that note of, you know, how ironed hair looks different for everybody, something that I've personally run into when I've tried like overnight tools and whatnot, like the curls come out or my blowout isn't perfect. Are there any ways that you have maybe, or that you recommend people with more curly hair or wavy hair or just any non-straight hair to use the product in a way that isn't just like, here's how to get this pin straight, smooth?
How do you get a better blowout from the jump?
Maybe these products don't have to be exclusive to a smooth, straight blowout. Are there ways to style your hair with it if that's not your goal for your hairstyle?
I'd say the only one, so it's not for pin straight. Like I would say like they all kind of have different purposes, right? So sleepy tie is like, no matter what your ethnicity is, no matter what your background is, no matter what your hair texture is, if you have blown out your hair, she's your best friend. That is a blowout product. So like it's, unless you're like that girl that like dries with straight hair and then you use sleepy tie, it's probably only going to give you a little volume, a little bounce. That's the purpose of that. Bonnet is a little bit more inclusive. If you're scrunching your hair, like for me personally, when I do natural textured curls, it's harder to preserve that style than it is to preserve my blowout, because it's like they get flat, they get scrunched, they get bent. Bonnet is for that purpose. One thing I notice as a salon owner is that people do a very bad job of blow drying their hair and get really lazy. As someone who has had hundreds of hairstylists in my salon for 15 years, I notice people don't dry their hair enough, and that actually causes a lot of damage and frizz. And because of that damage and frizz, it's like this repetitive revolving issue. So like my advice to those people, if you are looking for sleek, smooth hair, is like do a few more passes with a higher quality blow dryer, and you'll be shocked at how much you don't need to reheat as time goes on. I only apply heat to my hair once a week, the end. And I am a firm believer that if I can do that, other people can too.
That's nice that you believe that.
I believe it. Well, with the tools, Right. I'm not a hairstylist, so I don't have the skill.
I mean that right in that way. Like every time I go to a blowout and they do it in 20 minutes, I'm like, what just happened? Like this is not possible in real life.
They're just doing the steps better. That's all they're doing.
I have to remind myself, I'm like, you are literally an artist and I need to take a few steps back. But anyway, so yeah, I face that issue with my curls too, like in my era of trying to embrace them and learn how to do them. They get crushed overnight. I feel like I have to constantly be doing a curl routine. I'm excited to try the
And if you are going curly, like summer, I'm a very curly girl era. I'm in the pool, blah, blah, blah. Right. I use the bonnet, but then I also have like this 1/4 of an inch curling iron. It's like $18 on Amazon. And in the morning, like I'll sleep with the bonnet, do a few curl touch-ups, and it's great.
Yeah. I'm still behind on my curling iron journey, but that's a different conversation.
I got you.
I'd love to know more about like, obviously we've kind of touched on this, but is there a major milestone, or maybe there's a few that have happened with the brand that have meant a lot to you as a founder?
The first day comes to mind where it's like you launch an invention, you have absolutely no idea. And I'm bootstrapping this company. Like there's no private equity, there's no investors. You just like are kind of like throwing things at the wall, hoping for the best with integrity. I'm like, oh, wow, people are buying this. The follow-up was that it actually worked for them. Yeah. That was like kind of the craziest first thing for me. I would say then the second one that comes to mind is probably this year when we launched in Ulta, because I think that, that's like the craziest milestone where, we did that in under 4 years, and that's fast. I feel like impressive. So I feel like, I'm proud of my team and I'm proud of us as a whole. That was probably the most meaningful to date. Like I definitely was super emotional when we saw that in the Ulta stores, and just meant we were like a real business and not just me working out of my meditation chair.
As a very like social forward brand, that means that obviously, like you were just saying, for a long time, your sales are coming from online, from viewers that are on TikTok, maybe just like through a link. Why was it so important for you to launch in a real life store?
No one has touched one unless they bought one. The concept can be understood through a photo, but to touch it and see it is a little bit more 3D. So I feel like it helps. I think it also legitimizes the brand to have the name Ulta. Like I think there's a back and forth kind of business relationship between our e-commerce brand and Ulta as a whole. It's kind of like Ulta legitimizes us, and it's like, oh, like we're there in Ulta. And then you look at the product and are like, maybe it's worth looking at. And, people who don't know us don't really know to take a chance on us. Like a lot of my people I knew personally were taking a chance and like, oh, she made something cool when it was homegrown and small. It's a different ball game when you want someone to buy something when they have no clue who you are. I think it kind of just gives us that backing to like touch the product and be like, oh, maybe they're worth looking at.
We are obviously in an ever-changing, confusing world. A lot of issues are affecting the fashion and beauty industries. Are there any specific challenges you've faced in building the brand, or specifically this year, that you can speak to?
I'm the worst when it comes to talking about issues. There could be like a hurricane or like an earthquake going on, and I would be like, we should be so grateful for the opportunity to have reflection on the other days. Like I am just miss positivity. I think that's also been why it's been easy to build a business, because every time there's an issue, we're like pivot, opportunity, pivot, opportunity. I am not one to be like a sheep to the panic, right? I saw a lot of brands freaking out this year being like, we're upcharging, doing this, doing that. I was like, let's sit back and wait. I need to watch and observe. I'm not just going to up my prices and call this a panic zone. And we kind of like sat back and we're like, all right, like we can figure this out. There's always challenges every single minute of my day. I think, to be honest, it's the constant. The constant is change. The constant is issues. And the constant is shit show. Like at the end of the day, like running an e-com brand, running a business is a living, beautiful nightmare. It's chaotic. You can't get stuck on the issues. They happen every day. We missed this deadline, push this launch. We hate this pattern. We're launching a collection next spring. And we were like, we love this idea. We launched 4 patterns. And today we looked at them and we were like, hideous, hate them, terrible. We'd never wear them. And so we were like in the middle of the meeting, we're like, let's pivot. And I think the thing that matters about that is like the constant is issue, but you need to be surrounding yourself with people who agree on not staying in the dumps with the problem. We need to pivot quickly together. I'm blessed to have a team game for the change, So it's like, that's the only thing that really matters to me.
Yeah, I love that. And I love the constant is shit show.
It is, though. I think that people glamorize owning a business or being a CEO. It's cool to be in charge and well-positioned for what I'm good at, but that's just what it is. It's like you're just good at hitting the issues down.
Yeah. I think the thing you are talking about with a pattern is a great example of just, you have to always be a problem solver and move to the next thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. Fast forwarding, I know you've had launches this year, very exciting. What does Sleepy Tie look like to you in the next 5 to 10 years? What do you want to see change, if anything? What are some goals?
I think scaling is my answer. I love what we do. I love our process. I love how we launch things. I love my team. I'm very interested in staying inside of the business. I love to work. I would hate sitting at home doing nothing. I'm not one of those girls that aspires to not work. For me, it's about remaining innovative without veering too far from the purpose and the niche of the brand while staying fresh and relevant and like never getting too old, you know? I would say it's kind of like a rinse and repeat for me with remaining on our focus of quality. We are going into another retailer in a month that I cannot say. Even with that, I'm not looking to go into a million retailers. I want to be a household name without spreading too thin. I still want to be that chic, unattainable hair brand that's affordable, but not everywhere. Remaining demure is the goal.
Love. What advice would you have for somebody who wants to be, like you said, it's not all glamorous, but a lot of people do want to or aspire to be founders of something or work in beauty?
My advice to my team and anyone in any career really is like, you need to be really in touch with yourself. This generation is so focused on social media that they've lost touch with their heart center. Like, what are you really good at? What do you like? I'm really good at leading. I know that. I'm really good at pivoting. That's a CEO mentality. Not everyone's good at that. So I think that they like social media fantasizes that position, and people who fall short and fail, you can make just as much money and be just as successful if you're contributing in the right area. For me, it's about being in touch with like, what's your unique ability and like, what are you really good at and what lights your soul on fire, and then running with that instead of just running to something that looks cool, not really understanding why you want it. I think a lot of people are fake these days. That is also part of social media. We have to get back to more realness and then pursue.
Yeah, I can agree with a lot of that. I'm curious, as we near the end of our conversation, Sleepy Tie is huge on socials. A lot of your sales come from socials, and since it's constantly changing, what is your strategy to maintaining that aspect of the brand? Or is it something that you want to maybe make less part of the brand? Or
social media,
yeah,
I think it's here to stay. Marketing wise, you can never be too pigeonholed. For example, we launched a dog toy this week. Like, and that dog toy was, yeah, I'm like so excited about it. And it's like different, you know, like it's cool. I think you got to keep people guessing and you have to remain innovative. I definitely am not looking to veer from social media. I don't think it's the only strategy, but I also think you have to be present and modern. My brand wouldn't do well on a billboard. So it's like, I think there's different types of marketing. As a director of marketing, as someone who has worked in that field for a long time with a lot of different brands, like I used to see when I owned an agency, how much people would spend on certain avenues and how little return they'd get. What's great about social media is it's free, like free marketing. You have to go all in on that. It's not going anywhere. How I feel about social media, like as a human versus how I feel about it as like a brand owner, are very different things. Because like as a human, I find social media a bit toxic. As a brand owner, I find it to be incredibly necessary. So I try to kind of always keep this balance of social media of like, get off, get on, get off, get on, because it can drag you down. I'm not looking to get away, but always looking to have it be controlled, you know?
Yeah, I like that perspective on the controlled. Yeah, I like that. That was great. And I think the career advice was like a really great way to kind of close this conversation.
Perfect. Well,
right.
Thank you for your time and thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on the Fashionista Network.
Love it.
We'll see everyone on the next show.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.